The sponsored girl he brought home had been reborn, and she was as arrogant as a peacock. I can stay at your house, but you must guarantee your son keeps his distance from me. No idle chit-chat. Don't get close and absolutely do not fall in love with me. And at that moment, he realized Bianca Snow had truly been reborn. In his past life, he loved her more than his own. He burned through money and resources just to put her at the very top of the entertainment industry. But the second she got famous, the first thing she did was hold her secret lover's hand and publicly announce their wedding. Later, when paparazzi exposed their past, she was terrified her reputation would be destroyed. So she had him ruthlessly murdered, leaving him to burn to ashes in a sea of flames. When he awoke again, he swore he'd make her watch her own life crumble to dust before her very eyes. "Let me introduce you," his mother said gently. "This is Bianca Snow, your new classmate. From today on, she will be staying with us." In the living room stood a tall, plainly dressed girl, looking at him with a cold expression. Even though it was her first time in their mansion, she looked totally at ease, without a single trace of fear or insecurity. Bianca spoke with cold arrogance. "I can stay here, but you must guarantee that your son keeps his distance. Don't start any conversations. Don't get close and absolutely do not fall in love with me." His mother seemed stunned by her words, unable to react for what felt like an eternity. "Bianca, do you have some kind of issue with my son?" "No, I just want to make my boundaries clear." "I hope you can understand," Bianca replied, glancing at him with pure indifference, and that's when he knew Bianca Snow had been reborn too. Because in their past life, on her first day at his house, she wasn't arrogant like a peacock at all. Back then she was timid and polite, even though he later learned it was all just an act. At first, she seemed like a pitiful, innocent little thing. And he, completely fooled by that gentle, pure exterior, fell so deep it cost him his reputation, his life, and his family. Thinking back to his past life, how she drugged him and left him to be swallowed by the flames, that agonizing, suffocating pain surged right back through his body. He walked over to the sofa, sat down, and said coldly, "Mom, it seems the girl you sponsored isn't happy here. Why don't we just switch to someone else so she doesn't waste a sponsorship spot?" In the previous life, his family's Vance group sponsored 10 students from poor, mountainous regions, and Bianca Snow was one of them. Her mother had died young, and her gambler father fled town to escape his debts. Seeing her tragic background, his mother took pity and asked if she wanted to transfer to a school in the city. And that's how Bianca came to his house. But the truth is, good deeds are not always rewarded. Some people are born as ungrateful snakes, even if you tear out your own heart for them. It's useless. "That's not what I meant, don't twist my words," Bianca said hastily upon hearing his suggestion to replace her. She looked nervous, she wasn't stupid. In the past life, he had loved her beyond reason, pouring endless wealth and resources into making her the queen of the entertainment world. In just 3 years, Bianca became a top-tier superstar, winning countless awards. She was once Artist of the Year, landing multi-million-dollar deals. Back then, her glory was blinding, but what about now? Now, after being reborn, she was just a broke student who could barely afford to eat. If she lost this sponsorship, her only path was dropping out to work dead-end jobs. Sure, she had some talent, but without a high school diploma or any connections. Did she truly think she could reclaim her past fame? A complete pipe dream. Bianca wasn't an idiot. She knew when to push and when to back down, but Felix wasn't overthinking it. She had brutally murdered him in his past life. Any interest now? It was just the burning desire to rewrite history, crush her, and send her back to the miserable life she was always destined for. Today was the first day of the new semester. After breakfast, Uncle Charlie's car waited outside. Just as Felix got in, a voice shouted, "Uncle Charlie, wait for me." It was Bianca, backpack on, running towards them. Panting, she naturally went for the back door, but then she saw him and froze on the spot. A second later, she slammed the door shut, marched to the front, and got in the passenger seat. Uncle Charlie shot a confused look at Felix, a silent question in his eyes. He opened his mouth, but Bianca's icy, distant stare was already fixed on him. Felix Vance, I made myself clear yesterday. Don't speak to me. Don't even try getting close. He couldn't help but laugh. This car belongs to my family. I don't share rides with strangers, so get out. Bianca's face went rigid. She clearly didn't expect him to fight back like this. In their past life, from the moment she moved in, he treated her with absolute kindness. After realizing his feelings, he spoiled her completely. Designer clothes and luxury bags. If she wanted it, she got it. For her 18th birthday, he even bought her a yacht with his own allowance. Shocking his parents, all because she once said she'd never traveled abroad. He took her skiing in Norway and to see Finland's northern lights every single school break. His parents called it an obsession. His friends just called him Bianca's pathetic little lapdog. Looking back now, he really was grade A material. He chased her for 10 long years, only to lose absolutely everything. Felix, I'm just catching a ride. Must you be so petty? Her face darkened, clearly annoyed that her precious rules were being challenged for her own convenience. He replied coldly, Do I even know you? Why should I give you a ride? Bianca got out, slamming the door behind her. He didn't even give her a second look. Uncle Charlie, let's go. Felix attended a private school. In an attempt to keep them apart, his mother had transferred her there as well. Same age, she was in class 3, he was in class 5, on that very first day. Rumors about the infamous school, bully Harry Carter, and the new girl were already spreading like a plague. The story went that Bianca had walked right up to him and confessed, Harry, I like you. Can I be your girlfriend? That bold move was like a bomb going off, sending the entire school into a frenzy of gossip. REBORN, and the first thing she does. She runs straight back to her true love from her past life. It seemed Bianca really did love Harry Carter, but Felix remembered it all, and the person she truly loved. And then there was Harry, but since Harry was dirt poor, Bianca couldn't have both. In the end, between love and a career, she made her ruthless choice. She chose our main character as her stepping stone, and he, like an absolute fool, thought it was fate. He believed she was moved by his devotion, mistaking it for destiny and real love. Every time he poured money her way, Bianca would just say, Wait until I win. Best Actress, I will announce our love to the whole world. Well, in the end, she did. She made a huge announcement, but not with him. It was with that other guy, Harry. Harry Carter, the man who held her hand on the streets, the one who cooked her porridge. After going public, Bianca stood right in front of our main character, Felix. She cried her eyes out, claiming she had only ever seen him as a good friend. She said even though she tried to force herself to be with him, she just couldn't. Then she had the nerve to say, Thank you for everything you've done for me all these years. I will repay you, but I will absolutely never marry you, good friend. He was by her side for 10 years, sacrificing literally everything for her ambitions. He went from a carefree rich kid to someone begging others for resources. Buying scripts, meeting directors, all to protect her from the industry's dark side. He dealt with fake people and drank until he had stomach bleeding, and then what? When she finally hit the big time, she had the nerve to say he was just a friend. A friend, that single word opened his eyes, 10 years of his blood, sweat, and love. Wiped away with one sentence. Still, he gritted his teeth and wished them the best. He wished Bianca and that thug well. After that, he went home. But over those years, because he was so focused on Bianca's career, his own family's business had suffered. It stagnated, started to decline. Seeing his parents age so fast filled him with guilt. But just as he was about to pull himself together, he got a call. It was Bianca. Turns out, paparazzi had caught photos of her frequently visiting him. They'd sold those pictures to a rival. For a celebrity about to get married, this was bad. A female celebrity who had just announced her wedding day, this was a complete catastrophe. So Bianca called to discuss a fix. She asked to meet at a wooden cabin in the mountains. He refused at first, but she begged him, swearing this would be the final time. She swore it would be the last time they'd ever meet. If he helped her this one time, she would never bother him again. So after some thought, he agreed. When he arrived, Bianca was just talking nonsense, but after drinking the tea she gave him, he passed out. When he woke up, he found himself tied up tightly. Tied to a pillar by her and Harry, and the whole place reeked of gasoline. To protect her perfect celebrity image, she was planning to murder him brutally. Before lighting the match, she even squeezed out a couple of fake crocodile tears. "Felix, I'm sorry, I have no other choice. You know too much about my past. If you expose our history to the reporters, my life is over." He struggled frantically. He tried to break free from the ropes, but it was totally useless. All he could do was glare at her. "Bianca Snow, are you even human? Did you forget how you got here?" Harry just stood there and coldly cut him off. "What the hell are you? You think my Bianca couldn't succeed without you? Baby, don't waste your breath. Just light the fire and let's go." In the end, he was burned alive by that despicable pair. He remembered that Bianca hadn't used her own phone to contact him. She used a burner. This was all planned. She planned to kill him before even making that fake call. After he died, his spirit just floated there. He watched his elderly parents file police reports, but it was all completely hopeless. No clues, no evidence. The case was dead on arrival, a needle in an ocean. A year after his death, his mother fell into a severe depression and took her own life. 3 months later, his father passed on as well. All because of Bianca Snow, he lost his life. And his entire family. Perhaps the heavens pitied his tragic fate and gave him a second chance. They say karma always shows up, even if it's late. This time, it was his turn to settle the score with those two absolute scumbags. That night, right after he showered, loud noises erupted from outside the courtyard walls. Looking out the window, he saw a group of teenagers gathered down on the street. A whole crew on motorcycles. A girl in a blue school uniform got off one of the bikes. She stepped down from the back, shaking out her hair. Of course, it was Bianca Snow. She lingered for a bit, saying her goodbyes to Harry Carter. She walked off. Then ran right back to plant a kiss on his cheek. The crowd erupted with whistles and cheers. Harry smirked, looking incredibly smug. "No way, Bianca, you really live here." One of the teens exclaimed, "I heard houses around here are insanely expensive. 20,000 a square meter. What's your aunt do to be so rich? Can we come hang out? I want to see what a $20,000 mansion looks like." "Me too, me too." Bianca paused, her voice suddenly soft. "Well, let me see, my parents don't really like strangers coming over." "Don't say that. How could Harry be a stranger? He's your dad's future son-in-law, and by the way, it's his birthday next week. How about we throw a party at your place? Let us admire your mansion." "Yeah, great idea. Come on, Sister Snow." The crowd was practically begging her now. After a moment of dramatic silence, Bianca finally replied, "Give me a few days. I'll ask my dad." Cheers exploded. "All right, Sister Snow, so generous, don't let us down." From his window, he couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. He felt like an idiot. He'd totally wasted his past life, never once realizing how fake Bianca truly was. Or maybe back then, her acting was just that good whenever she was around him. She was an actress, after all. He wondered what would happen if he just went down there right now and exposed every single one of her lies. What a beautiful scene that would be. But unfortunately, once Bianca went inside, the motorcycle gang just took off. Even the maids knew she was dating someone. At school, the rumors were even crazier. Her and Harry's romance was disgustingly public and over the top. On campus and off, they were constantly seen holding hands, showing off their love. And at the same time, rumors of Bianca being a rich heiress spread like wildfire. Some kids posted photos of her entering super exclusive residential areas. Others claimed they saw her getting out of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan at the school gate. A rich heiress falling for the school delinquent. The story was just too good to resist. Almost overnight, their relationship became the school's version of a modern fairy tale. On Saturday morning, he and his mother were eating breakfast in the dining room. That's when Bianca came downstairs, looking all bright and cheerful. Bianca, his mother, called to her. She just nodded in greeting, after a brief hello. Bianca looked at his mother hesitantly for a moment before she finally spoke. "Auntie, a friend of mine has a birthday this weekend, so I was wondering, can I borrow our house?" Borrow the house to throw a party? She actually had the nerve. His mother just stared. Felix's mother looked surprised, her expression a little odd. "You want to throw a party here?" "Bianca, your Uncle Vance doesn't like having crowded, noisy houses. So I'm afraid that's a no." At the rejection, Bianca was clearly disappointed, but she refused to back down. "Not even for half an evening. Auntie, I already promised them." Felix scoffed. "You really do see everything if you live long enough." She promised them. By what right did she make that promise? It wasn't her house. His mother didn't yield. "Because your Uncle Vance really dislikes a house full of people." "I'm sorry, Bianca, it's still early. You can tell your friends that our house isn't available." Bianca said no more, quickly drank her milk, and got ready to leave. "You're not having breakfast?" his mother asked, surprised. "No time, Auntie, I'm meeting someone," she replied. His mother opened her mouth, eventually managing to say, "Bianca, there's something I need to remind you about. You're at a critical stage in your senior year. Everything should prioritize your studies. Don't lose focus, understand." Bianca stopped in her tracks, turned around and looked at them seriously. "What exactly are you trying to say to me, Auntie?" His mother paused, then advised her with the tone of a caring elder. "I heard you're dating. I just want to remind you that at this stage, studying is the most important thing. Doing well and getting into a good college is the key. Mrs. Vance, I want to make one thing clear, even though you're sponsoring me. It doesn't mean you can interfere in my love life," Bianca retorted firmly. Felix had to admit she had a point. He wished his mom would just respect other people's fate and drop her savior complex. But then Bianca's gaze snapped right to him, incredibly resolute. "Felix Vance, stop sitting there mocking me. So what if you're rich? I've already experienced that kind of life. But this time, I will absolutely never let go of Harry. Drop whatever ideas you have about me." Felix almost laughed out loud. "Then move out with the sponsorship money the Vance family gives you. Renting a single room outside shouldn't be hard. Want to move right now? I'll call Uncle Charlie to help you." She instantly shut up, bit her lip, and replied stubbornly, "You don't have the right to kick me out. You invited me here." Her skin was thicker than a fortress wall. But of course, she wouldn't dare move out. On one hand, a massive luxury villa with every amenity. On the other, a dingy rented room. Even an idiot knew which to choose. Not to mention, everyone at school thought she was a wealthy heiress. If she moved out, how could she possibly maintain that facade? The tension was getting too thick. So his mother quickly intervened. All right, both of you drop it." Bianca glared at Felix one last time before turning and leaving. His mother watched her go inside. "I didn't expect her to have such a personality. Mom, let her move out." "We can just send her living expenses," Felix suggested. His mother thought for a moment. "Let me talk to her when I have time." Since Bianca wanted to play the villain so badly, Felix decided he would help her achieve it. From what he knew of his past life, she and Harry had got together on that very birthday inside some tattered rooftop tent. They had only known each other for a few days. How did Felix know this in such detail? Because in his past life, after Bianca dragged Harry out to announce their wedding, Harry himself, he deliberately recounted it just to humiliate him. Felix, just give up. A woman never forgets her first man. Do you know what my 18th birthday present was? It was Bianca. She gave me everything, holding nothing back in that tent on the roof. She said she'd never forget that day, not for the rest of her life. Never forget the feeling I gave her. How can you compare to me? You're just her lapdog. If you weren't useful, she would have dumped you 800 years ago." Those toxic words still echoed in his ears. Felix slowly clenched his fist. Never forget that day for the rest of her life, he sneered at the memory. He swore that in this life, he would make it an equally unforgettable experience for both of them. He found a top-rated resort online and suggested a 2-day weekend trip for the whole family. Why the sudden urge to travel? His mother asked, completely surprised. Oh, nothing. I just noticed Dad's been so busy, and he finally has some free time. I want you both to relax a bit. My treat, okay? Oh, I'm too lazy to go, she said. It's not far, only an hour or 2 by car. I'm all grown up and showing my appreciation for the first time, and you're rejecting me. That really hurts, he feigned disappointment. His mother hesitated. Oh, all right then, let me ask your dad if he has time. With a little persuasion from his mom, his dad agreed to take the weekend off. That evening, ensuring Bianca was well within earshot, he spoke to the butler. Uncle Leo, this Saturday and Sunday, my parents are going to the Lin family's resort. See if anyone else from the house wants to come along, and I will book extra rooms. Yes, young Master Felix, the butler replied, turning away. Felix caught a glimpse of Bianca, her face deep in thought. He knew her. She was definitely getting excited. When Saturday finally came, he made an excuse, telling his mother he couldn't go. Then he invited his own friends out to dinner. Why eat out? Your family's chef cooks way better Cantonese food, Natalie, his close friend, reasonably wondered. Let's go back to my place tonight. We can watch a movie or play games. You should bring the whole gang. My parents are away this weekend, and it's boring being all alone, Felix suggested. Awesome, it is Saturday after all. Let me get the others, Natalie replied. Felix opened his phone. On the security feed, he saw Bianca, Harry, and their biker gang arriving at his house. They laughed and shouted, running wild through the living room. It didn't take long for someone to find the Lafite and Romane Conti from his dad's prized wine cellar. They cheered. Brothers, look what I found. The whole group lost their minds. Drink up. Nobody leaves until we're totally wasted. His phone buzzed. Butler Leo. What is it, Uncle Leo? Young Master, Bianca's friends are being too loud. They even took the Master's prized wine. Are you sure you don't want me to kick them out? It's fine, let them drink. Just try to make sure they don't break the furniture, he replied. The more they drank, the better. Alcohol gives people courage. Bianca Snow, don't you dare let me down. As night fell and they finished dinner, Felix called a few cabs, leading his classmates back toward his house. On the camera feed, Bianca and Harry were already a mess, making out on the stairs. It was disgusting, looking like they were about to go all the way right there. By the time his group arrived, he checked the cameras. The wild lovebirds had moved. Felix headed to a guest room on the 3rd floor. This was it, showtime. The motorcycle gang had cleared out from the living room. He'd told Butler Leo to lead them out back, making sure not to spoil the main event. Felix led his friends straight up to the 3rd floor. Weren't we going to play games? Why are we on the 3rd floor? Natalie asked, totally confused. The game rooms on this floor. Felix lied without missing a beat. He pushed a door open and the group flooded in. And then they instantly froze. On the bed, 2 pale bodies were tangled together. Very suggestive noises filled the air. It was basically a live show. Oh my God, what the hell? A friend screamed in shock. The 2 on the bed finally realized they weren't alone and whipped their heads around. Bianca let out an absolutely ear-piercing shriek that could have shattered glass. Her panicked expression in that moment, if Felix could have taken a picture, he would have treasured it forever. The 2 of them scrambled apart, desperately hunting for their clothes. Then Felix spoke up. Slowly, Bianca Snow, what exactly are you doing? Wait, that's Bianca. Someone immediately recognized her, and that's Harry Carter. What are they doing in your house? How would I know? Felix shrugged, playing completely innocent. By now, the lovebirds were still scrambling for their clothes. Jumping around like monkeys in front of everyone, pure comedy. Can I get a video of this? A curious friend asked. At that, Harry finally exploded, roaring, are you blind? Didn't you see this room was occupied? Now get the hell out. Everyone just looked at him, then over at Felix. Who are you telling to get out? One classmate shot back, what are you doing here? This is trespassing. Harry yelled. Felix sneered at the two idiots. Oh, so you do know the word trespassing. Bianca Snow, you've got some serious nerve bringing a man to his house. Couldn't even afford a hotel room. Let me tell you, from this day on, he's going to seriously reconsider whether the Vance family should even continue sponsoring you. Now take your cheap boyfriend and get the hell out of his house. Harry just froze, turning to Bianca with a dark glare. What the hell is going on? This isn't your house. Bianca gritted her teeth, her eyes bloodshot as she stared at Felix like he'd just murdered her father. Felix Vance, you are despicable. Using a dirty trick like this to force me to be with you. Keep dreaming. His classmates all turned to stare at him, practically reaching for popcorn. Felix felt like he'd been hit by lightning, so furious he actually started laughing. Bianca, if your brain is broken, go see a doctor. Don't just stand here barking. Be careful or he'll sue you for defamation. Harry just spat out a curse, quickly yanked on his pants and turned to leave. Bianca panicked, grabbing him to explain. Harry, listen, Felix did this deliberately just to tear us apart. This is a trap, I don't have time for this, Harry said coldly. No, Harry, you can't go. She tried to say more but was forcefully shoved to the floor by Harry. Harry, you stop right there, she screamed. Watching this ridiculous soap opera unfold, everyone thought it was completely absurd. Bianca wrapped a blanket around herself, stormed up to Felix, and gave him a hateful look, her voice dripping with arrogance. Felix Vance, put away your childish games. You think this will break me and Harry apart. Let me be perfectly clear, I will never, ever be with you in this lifetime. I advise you to drop your delusions. She's delusional, Natalie finally snapped. Are you even okay in the head? Who would ever like a person like you, bringing men back to somebody else's house? Harry then piped up, did you actually tell people this was your house? Aren't you just a sponsored student from the Vance family? Another classmate gasped. What? Bianca is a sponsored student. The whole school was saying she's rich. A rich heiress, someone even saw her get out of a Cullinan not long ago. Natalie calmly explained, the Cullinan belongs to my mother. Then it all clicked. They understood but were still confused. Felix, why is she living at your house? I looked right at Bianca and started to explain. This girl, Bianca Snow. Her mother died young. Her father's a gambling addict who is drowning in debt. He disappeared, so she couldn't afford school or a place to even live. So my mother sponsored her, even letting her stay with us. But Miss Snow got the wrong idea and thinks I'm actually interested in her. She keeps spouting nonsense all day. It's really annoying. Bianca's face went bright red. She trembled under the blanket. Felix Vance, you're a liar. It's obviously you who's been stalking and harassing me. I just sneered, not bothering to reply. Seriously, has she lost her mind? I've barely spoken 2 words to her in this new life. Stalking her, please, the other classmates started whispering. And the whispers started, narcissism is a sickness. There are way too many overconfident girls in this world. Where does she even get the nerve to think Felix would be into her? She reads way too many romance novels, completely delusional. Unable to take it, Bianca completely lost her mind and shrieked, get out. All of you get out, everyone rolled their eyes. This doesn't seem to be your house. Who do you think you are, telling the actual owner to leave? How shameless can you be? How thick is your skin, honestly, bringing a guy home to discuss biology? That stunt completely enraged my mother. She never imagined the girl was this audacious. And just absurd, returning from the resort, she immediately gave instructions. Butler Leo told Bianca to pack her bags and move into the school dorms immediately. From now on, her tuition and living expenses would be sent directly to her. The Vance family was officially cutting all other ties with her. Case closed. On the day she moved out, Bianca walked right past me, looking all haughty. You people are kicking me out today. In 2 months, even if your whole family gets on their knees to beg me, I won't come back. Oh, of course. I knew exactly what she meant. News about the famous director Lydia Miller preparing to shoot the blockbuster movie 2.5 Years was trending. A fantasy romance between a dragon youth and a human girl. The entire film was planned as a 4-part series, and the hype was insane. Director Lydia loved using new actors and was holding open auditions online. In my past life, Bianca got her big break playing the second female lead in this movie. She won Best New Actress the following year. In her mind, she was the chosen one. Born to be a superstar, but there was one thing that she didn't know. The original author of the novel, Lydia Miller, was my mother's best friend. In my last life, I begged my mother endlessly just to help Bianca get a part. She finally gave in and invited Aunt Lydia over to our house for dinner. Aunt Lydia is incredibly loyal. She felt she had to repay my mom for funding her college. Thanks to an old school connection, she immediately gave Bianca an audition. When Bianca got the call from the production team, she was absolutely ecstatic. She genuinely believed her own phenomenal acting skills had landed her the part. Seeing her that happy, Felix never mentioned that he had arranged everything. Later, with his endless money and resources, her career completely skyrocketed. Knowing he wouldn't be helping her this time, Felix used his own mother's name. To register a studio, after a ton of effort, he traveled to a remote town. To find the one girl who was Bianca's greatest nemesis, he finally found her. A girl named Sylvia Harper. He signed her immediately. In his past life, she was Bianca's #1 rival. Despite a late debut at 25, she had crushed Bianca and won 2 Best Actress awards with just 10 minutes of insane emotional acting. Sylvia was a natural, practically born for the camera. She had a face made for film with stunning, unforgettable features. 1. Look was all it took. As planned, Felix had his mother invite Aunt Lydia over for dinner, but this time was different. He brought Sylvia with him. Just as he expected, Aunt Lydia was completely captivated by Sylvia, and not just for any reason. It was because her cinematic face was a stylist's absolute dream. Everything went off without a hitch. Sylvia landed the role meant for Bianca. She prepared to join the cast, while Bianca attended the open audition. But she was cut in the very first round. Sylvia, meanwhile, was an 11th grader, a year younger than him. Felix told his mom she was a golden goose who would become a huge star. They just had to invest heavily in her now. His mother was skeptical, sure, but still gave him a large sum of money to use. He paid off Sylvia's parents, quickly getting her out of her suffocating and intensely patriarchal family. He also arranged for her to transfer to his city, and even though filming was about to start, her education was non-negotiable. He hired private tutors for her, literature, math, and foreign languages. On the day he took Sylvia to the set, he found Bianca making a scene. A huge one. She was screaming at the staff, "I'm suing this production. There are backroom deals. The role of Serena Knight was mine, so why didn't I get a notice? Why can't I even get on set if you don't give me a clear explanation today? I'm not leaving. I'll stand here forever." Bianca disregarded her image completely, just screeching like a banshee. Then she spotted Sylvia and Felix. She froze. Her expression grew darker by the second before she suddenly lunged forward, blocking their way. "What is going on here? Why are you two here?" Felix couldn't be bothered. "None of your business." Bianca's eyes fell on the suitcase in Sylvia's hand, and it clicked. Her face twisted into a snarl. "Sylvia Harper, don't you dare tell me you stole my role. Impossible. You shouldn't even be debuting right now." While Bianca panicked, Sylvia just smirked and asked, "How do you know I shouldn't be debuting now?" Bianca stammered, So you were reborn too." She stared at Sylvia wide-eyed as if seeing a ghost. "You used Felix to get the role of Serena." "Exactly," Sylvia said. "Didn't you do the same thing in your past life?" Sylvia's comeback was smooth. "I earned that role myself," Bianca furiously denied. Sylvia just laughed. "Don't joke about your acting skills. Did you not know the original author and Mrs. Vance are old classmates?" Sylvia announced brother Felix had helped her get the role. Bianca was silent. Felix just stood by, feigning total ignorance. What are you guys talking about? Is this some new way of saying hello? Sylvia then hooked her arm intimately through his. Yeah, brother Felix, this is how everyone greets each other now. Didn't you know? As they turned to leave, a seething Bianca suddenly grabbed Sylvia. In our past life, I clearly won that role myself. You stole my role, and now you want to run. What did you do to Harry? Why is he treating me so coldly? Sylvia paused for a moment, then looked like she just had a revelation. Didn't do much. Just told him to stay away from a venomous snake like you, in the past life. Brother Felix poured his heart, soul, and money into pushing you to the top. But once you succeeded, you threw him away like trash. His life was too tragic. I just warned Harry to avoid anyone named Snow in this life. That's all. I'll tear your mouth off. Bianca, her face completely twisted with rage, lunged to strike Sylvia, but he shoved her back hard. Felix Vance, I'll give you one last chance. Dump this woman right now, and let me play Serena Knight. Otherwise, don't even think about speaking to me for the rest of your life. He really couldn't take it anymore. Did she have no shame? Save this opportunity for some other idiot. Don't talk to me. Just looking at you reminds him of that disgusting scene from that night. Bianca's eyes turned bloodshot, as if she was suffering a massive humiliation. Her voice trembled. Fine, remember this. Oh, I will remember, and I can't wait to see your ending. After Sylvia joined the cast, she released his arm and laughed. She looked so mad. Ignore her. Honestly, in my past life, I was so jealous of the relationship between you two, Sylvia admitted. Everyone in the whole industry knew. Shortly before he found Sylvia, she had suddenly told him, Felix, I know why you brought me here. Turns out she had dreamt of her past life too. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. Since she knew, she definitely understood his motive for signing her. With her talent, becoming famous was only a matter of time. If she had wanted to return to her massive former management company, he wouldn't have stood in her way. Bigger companies always had better resources. After all, what are you thinking? Sylvia had asked him half-jokingly. In the past life, you single-handedly pushed Bianca to the very top. You never forced her to entertain clients. You never made her take roles she didn't like. Do you have any idea how jealous I was? I sat on the cold bench at my company for 3 years. I couldn't even get a tiny maid role without begging my manager for a month. I never dared to dream of a life like Bianca's. Now that the dream is real, why would I ever let you go? Felix, I bet you anything it won't be long before Bianca is green with regret. After that, their very happy partnership began. But after the scene on the 2.5-year set, Bianca was visibly losing all composure. She often walked past the corridors, pretending to accidentally glance into his classroom. Her class was on the 4th floor, his class was on the 5th. There was zero reason for her to be up here. She was definitely looking for him. Ever since he kicked her out of the house, Bianca had acted indifferent, thinking she was holding the ultimate trump card. She believed she had a bright future without his family's help. Too bad for her, fate had other plans. Kicked out by her family, stripped of the role that had made her a star. Her future, study hard, get into college, find a decent job. For anyone else, that's fine. But this was Bianca Snow. In her previous life, she was a legend. The nation's goddess, reigning at the very peak of the entertainment world. She lived under the spotlight, worshipped everywhere she went. Malls would erupt in screams, fans mobbed airports just to catch a glimpse of her. A single brand deal casually pulled in tens of millions of dollars. She wore designer clothes, owned mansions, and had drivers on speed dial. Could a person who lived like that ever accept a normal, broke life? Felix, I need to talk to you. One day after class, Bianca approached him. He didn't even hesitate. Not available, I'm busy. She took a sharp breath. Then with pure arrogance, she glared at him. I can accept you as my brother. The sheer audacity of it made Felix's temples throb in annoyance. No matter how much you like me, I won't break up with Harry. but this is my offer. Consider it my way of making up for your regrets. However, I have one condition. Lydia Miller's new blockbuster, Above the Clouds, is filming in a few months. I want the female lead role. Felix was beyond bewildered at this point. He was so furious he could feel his insides tremble with pure rage. He genuinely wanted to crack her head open and see what was malfunctioning inside. The level of shamelessness to say those words so calmly was almost inhuman. If he wasn't hiding his rebirth, he would have slapped her right there. He would have screamed, "Bianca Snow, how thick is your skin? You and Harry burned me alive. And in this life, you still want to use me to get ahead. Are you a demon?" Even a demon would steer clear of a venomous, ungrateful snake like her. Compensate my regrets. The only compensation is for you and Harry to die right now. Where in the world did you get the confidence to think I still like you? He sneered, his eyes scanning over her as if she were actual garbage. Bianca froze, her mind unable to process what was happening. Impossible, you were my lapdog for so long, you can't just stop liking me. Felix, stop lying to yourself. This is the best I can offer, my biggest concession. When I move back into the Vance house, we can see each other every day. I'll treat Mr. and Mrs. Vance like my own parents. Harry will be good to them too. Trust me, she said, this is the best possible ending for us. She even wanted to bring Harry into his home. Felix felt his sanity slipping. He couldn't take it anymore and just roared, "Get the hell out." Bianca's eyes widened, her voice cracking in disbelief. What? She clearly never expected him to reject her. Her face turned dark. "Felix Vance, don't be ungrateful." Felix just stared back at her coldly. His original plan was to focus on his studies. He was going to wait until after exams to settle the debts from his past life. But now it seemed he didn't need to wait. She was practically begging for it. So he'd send her on her way. It took butler Leo just 1 week to find Boris Snow. Bianca's father. In his past life, Felix had dealt with this guy more than enough. After his daughter got famous, the gambling addict became a massive problem. To protect Bianca's perfect image, Felix was always cleaning up his messes, paying off millions in debt and silencing all the women he'd taken advantage of. He was blackmailed. Looking back, he'd been an absolute fool, never living for himself. His time and money were wasted on human garbage, and he ended up dead without even an intact corpse. That evening, his butler Leo told him someone was looking for him outside. A scrawny, scruffy man was waiting by the flower beds, a cigarette dangling from his lips. The gambling addict, he looked him up and down, glancing greedily at the house, and said, "You're Chairman Vance's son, right? I heard your family is sponsoring my daughter, Bianca. Helped her transfer schools and is letting her live at your place. I just came to see how she is." Our hero feigned surprise. "Oh, Uncle Boris, Bianca did stay with us a while, but she moved out later." Boris was not expecting that tone. Moved out. "Where to? You can call her and ask," he replied. Boris's face darkened. "You people sponsored her and said she could stay. Why'd you kick her out? If something happens to a young girl all alone out there, can you take responsibility?" "Uncle Boris, she just moved to the school dorms. Besides, she was the one who insisted on moving out," he explained. "Wanted to move." Boris frowned, completely confused. The young man just nodded. "I think she got a boyfriend." Boris immediately scowled, throwing his cigarette to the ground. "Boyfriend? What boyfriend? Why didn't I know?" He then demanded, "Do you know where this boyfriend is?" Our hero was more than happy to lead the way. He immediately called Uncle Charlie to drive Boris and himself to Harry and Bianca's secret base, the place where they swore their love in his past life. An abandoned building in the suburbs with a filthy, stinking tent inside. Half an hour later, they arrived. Before they headed upstairs, he picked up a wooden stick, over a meter long and thick as his wrist. Boris shot him a strange look. He just smiled. "A walking stick. This old building doesn't have handrails. It's dangerous if you fall." He had scouted the location before, so he knew it well. He led Boris right to the rooftop. Inside a new tent, the sounds of panting and gasping could be heard. He let out a tiny smirk, perfect timing. Boris's face turned grim. His sharp eyes clouded with a dark rage. Our hero looked awkward and threw the stick aside, pretending he didn't know what to do. Boris picked up the stick he had just dropped, marched straight to the tent, and roared, "Bianca Snow." The noises inside stopped instantly. Boris unzipped the tent. A very compromising scene was revealed. Seeing him, all the color drained from Bianca's face. She frantically pulled a blanket over herself, trembling. "D-Dad, why are you here, Harry?" Hearing her call the man Dad, instantly panicked and scrambled for his clothes. Whack! A stick slammed right down on Harry's head. Dizzied, he clutched his head in pain. Seeing Boris raise the stick again, Harry didn't have any time to think. Naked as the day he was born, he scrambled right out of the tent. Such a familiar scene, so very entertaining. He always seems to catch them at the perfect moment. Boris gripped the stick, turning around with a face cold as ice. "You little punk, do you have any idea who I am? How dare you touch my daughter? If I don't beat you to death today, my name isn't Snow." And even though Harry was the school bully, in front of Boris, a hardened thug who survived in the underground casinos, he was just a little chick. Right now, naked and shivering, whether from shame or the fear of a beating, he was shaking uncontrollably. He still tried to act tough. "It has nothing to do with me," she was willing. That answer was a perfect 10. The fury on Boris's face absolutely exploded. He slammed the stick into Harry's waist. Harry screamed out in pure agony. He was clearly panicking, wanting to run but also grab his clothes. And Boris. He began his hunt. The stick swung without mercy, like the Grim Reaper's own scythe. In a flash, Harry was howling, limping, and scrambling all over the rooftop. Bianca frantically threw on her clothes and bolted out of the tent, crying. "Stop hitting him, Dad, stop it," but her pleas were completely ignored. Harry took hit after hit to his head, his back, and his legs. He was limping badly. Realizing he had run into a true psycho, he made a monumentally stupid move. He turned all his anger onto Bianca. "Bianca, aren't you going to stop him? Are you going to let this old geezer kill me?" At that, Boris froze. His eyes were completely bloodshot. He raised the stick and bellowed, "You bastard. You want to die?" Thwack, thump, crack. Boris attacked him without mercy. He beat him like a stray dog, head back, wherever the stick could possibly land. Harry shrieked pitifully until something inside him finally snapped. He lunged at Boris. It was a move of mutual destruction, but Boris swiftly dodged. Harry flew straight past. His feet stumbled, and he shot right off the edge of the tall building. Thud, the sound of a body hitting pavement echoed. It was only the 8th floor. Bianca covered her mouth, her eyes wide with absolute terror, utterly speechless. Harry didn't die, but he became a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. He was unable to move a single muscle. The doctor put it politely, essentially saying he would likely stay this way for the entire rest of his life. His chance of recovery wasn't zero, but it was practically the same thing. Harry's mother wailed in the hospital corridor, grabbing Bianca by her hair and dragging her. It was like an eagle catching a chicken, beating her almost senseless right there. Bianca's hair was a mess. Her clothes were completely rumpled and torn. Her face was covered in bloody scratches. She tried to escape, but it was useless. Mrs. Carter's eyes were locked on her, giving her absolutely no chance to run. For a supposed school bully, Harry turned out to be pathetically weak. The original plan was simple. Boris would beat him up, then the next phase would begin. Who could have known one misstep would leave him completely crippled for life? Truly, man proposes, but God disposes. Harry just lay there, motionless on the bed. Lying there like a mummy, his fate brought a dark comparison to another's past life. Being burned alive was excruciating, but unconsciousness from the smoke came quickly. So the feeling didn't last long. The only upside was that it was fast. Over in just half an hour, but for Harry, paralyzed with no feeling. No sensation, no pain. The dark upside here was that this was long-lasting. It could be for months, years, or even decades. A kind soul would sincerely hope. He lived to be 90. He was still so young after all. Then noise erupted. Out in the hallway again. After days of this torment, Bianca had finally broken. She collapsed, then started to fight back. It has nothing to do with me. Every debt has its debtor. Go find Boris. It was you, you slut. Mrs. Carter screamed back. If you hadn't seduced my son, would he have gone up to that rooftop with you? Would he have fallen? You filthy, I'm going to kill you. Model, I will skin you alive, chew your bones, and drink your blood. My son is in this state, and you think you can just run away. Once he's discharged, you are going to marry him. You're his in life, and you'll be his ghost in death. You will serve him forever. Don't even think about escaping. These were the words that hit Bianca like a curse, her face turning ghost white as she trembled. No, I won't marry him. I want to study, I have to study. But Mrs. Carter just spat right in her face, grinding her teeth. My son is like this, and you still want to study. Keep dreaming. Bianca shook her head frantically. I'm not of legal age to marry yet. You have no right to force me. You did this to my son, Mrs. Carter, her eyes bulging, landed a vicious slap. You say I have no right. Then you'll just have to listen to me. Another sharp slap. Bianca collapsed to the floor, tears of pure despair streaming down her face. And here is where the story gets truly ironic. In the past, Bianca and Harry had publicly announced their marriage all over social media. Soon after, a TV show invited Bianca and Mrs. Carter to appear as the perfect future mother-in-law and daughter-in-law duo. Back then, things were so different. The two of them were incredibly close. Mrs. Carter treated Bianca like a priceless treasure. Afraid of even dropping her or letting her melt, she constantly called her, my dear daughter-in-law. The other female guests were absolutely green with envy. Who could have ever predicted that this once loving pair would end up in a situation like this today? After a week of being held hostage in the hospital, something in Bianca finally snapped. Her survival instincts kicked in. She called the police, accusing Mrs. Carter of abuse. She explained to the officers that she and Harry were just normally dating. She had nothing to do with his injuries. It was all her father, Boris. Boris had already paid the price and was now in custody. She demanded to be let go immediately. The police investigated, her story checked out, and they escorted her right out of the hospital. Mrs. Carter went ballistic, clinging to her and refusing to let go. But the police didn't let her interfere. The Carter family had to compromise, demanding $2 million in compensation from the Snow family. That calculation was dead on arrival. Bianca was a student whose tuition relied on sponsorships. She had no money. Boris was a gambling addict hiding from his debts everywhere. Forget $2 million, he'd struggle to find $200. In short, even if they killed the father and daughter, they wouldn't get a single penny. Mrs. Carter was so enraged she fell ill, screaming, so what about my poor son? Is he just supposed to be unlucky? And the answer was simple. Yes, he was just incredibly unlucky. In the end, under police protection, Bianca finally escaped. The Carter family lost that round completely, but this fight was far from over. The next day, Bianca hadn't even warmed her seat in class for 3 minutes when she was urgently called to the principal's office. It turned out the Carter family had marched to the school to cause an absolute scene. Mrs. Carter sat in the office, crying to the heavens, rolling on the floor, and basically holding the school hostage. The school caved immediately and expelled Bianca just to settle it. Bianca, however, moved fast. On the very day she was expelled, she appeared at our main character's neighborhood gates. She even threw herself in front of Uncle Charlie's car, demanding to see her. Our protagonist, having just finished a math test and wanting some entertainment, cheerfully agreed. A few minutes later, Bianca was brought in, and she looked absolutely miserable. Her eyes were lifeless, her face so gaunt and sunken in. She was practically unrecognizable, but then she saw Felix and her eyes lit up. She lunged forward and grabbed his sleeve, her voice a desperate plea. Felix, I'll agree to date you, Just talk to Mrs. Vance and get me a school transfer, okay? The sheer audacity of her to show up and make demands. On what grounds did he have to help her? She froze but refused to give up. Then give me 5 million. No, 10 million or 20 million. I'll agree to anything. You love me that much, don't you? Felix could only think his uncle was too soft. Next time, he should just floor the gas and run her over. He stated again, I have absolutely zero interest in you. Even if you stripped naked and stood right here, I wouldn't care. This time she was truly stunned, her face a mask of disbelief. Impossible. You clearly loved me. For me, you were willing to do anything. You poured so much money into the entertainment industry just to make me famous. You stayed by my side for 10 years. You abandoned the Vance Group. You even paid off my dad's gambling debts. How could you suddenly not love me? Felix, wake up. I'm Bianca Snow, the person you love the most. Her words made him burst into laughter, a sound full of pure mockery. If I was so good to you, then why did you and Harry burn me alive? Bianca froze, as if seeing a ghost in broad daylight. She screamed, stumbled backwards, and then collapsed onto the floor. She scrambled away in a panic, staring at him in total terror. Who are you? Are you a human or a ghost? What do you think? He asked coldly. Half a minute later, it finally clicked. Felix, you were reborn too. So stupid, it took her this long to figure it out. Thinking about how he was murdered by someone like her in his past life just soured his entire mood. Bianca suddenly threw herself down on her knees right in front of him, hugging his legs, and just kept apologizing and begging. Felix, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to burn you. It was Harry. It was all Harry's idea. Don't blame me. It's so good that you've been reborn. You must remember our past life, right? You loved me. You like me so much. How about we start over? In this life, I will absolutely never let you go. We'll be together, and nobody can tear us apart. Felix was genuinely floored by Bianca's complete lack of shame. Was this even a human being? You want to start over? She nodded vigorously. Sure, go burn yourself to death. Then, in your next life, when you get reborn, I'll agree to start over. She immediately let go, her face turning pale. No, I don't want to be burned to death. I don't want anything. I just want to start over with you. Where in the world did such good deals exist? He simply stood up. If you don't agree, then there's nothing I can do. Bianca looked at him in pure despair, tears just streaming down her face. Why are you doing this to me? This is as easy as lifting a finger for you. I don't want to be expelled. I don't want to go back to the countryside. Why are you treating me like this? The villain was now playing the victim. Exactly why? How did he offend her in the past life? He gave her 10 years of his youth and was burned alive in return. No, Bianca Snow, she brought every bit of this upon herself. He looked at her, his plans for revenge suddenly shifting as he realized something. Even if he did absolutely nothing, her life was already over. Bianca's pleading look froze on her face, her eyes growing dangerously cold. She suddenly jumped up, screaming, "Who do you think you are? You were nothing but my lapdog. What gives you the right to be so arrogant? You think I can't be famous without you? I'll show you. I burned you to death in the past, didn't I? You're perfectly fine now, so why do you keep bringing it up? Can't you just let it go?" For a moment, he regretted this. He should have just done a math test instead of listening to her. Bianca was clearly unhinged. Likely because this life had dealt her too many blows and nothing was going her way. He had no interest in watching her have a total breakdown. He left the room, telling butler Leo to show the guest out. She instantly changed her tune, begging like a madwoman. "Felix, I didn't mean a word of that. Please, I'm begging you, get me into the movie cast. I want to be a star." A year later, the movie 2.5 Years became a smash hit. The lead actress, Sylvia Knight, was launched into stardom thanks to her natural and authentic acting. She hit 10 million followers and even received a special admission to the Film Academy's acting department. She would officially enroll 5 years down the line. Sylvia's future was clearly going to be brilliant. filled with nothing but success. But in the past life, this glory had all belonged to Bianca Snow. Even with acting not nearly as good as Sylvia's, the strong cast and a beloved character still managed to make her famous, gaining 5 million followers and a special admission to the Film Academy. He couldn't imagine what it felt like to go from the top of the world straight to rock bottom. In this life, Bianca could only dream of that halo she once wore. One afternoon, he paid a visit to the nursing home to see Harry. The change in him was shocking. In just a year, he looked nothing like a teenager. His clothes were shredded, his beard was a mess, and his eyes were crusted over. God knows how many days had passed since his face was last washed. He gave off a terrible stench, sitting there motionless with dead eyes. Of course, he could only talk and barely turn his head. He was no different from a living corpse. Felix couldn't stand it for more than 3 seconds. The smell was just suffocating, and it was all coming from Harry. He pinched his nose and left. The head nurse rushed over, giving Harry an apologetic look. "Felix, I am so sorry. We've been slammed lately and haven't had time to bathe or change your friend's clothes." "I'll get someone on it right away," he offered a faint smile. "It's fine, I understand. He chose this facility for that exact reason." The staff had terrible attitudes, tons of complaints, and not enough people. The whole place was filthy. Why else would he put Harry here, for a vacation? The head nurse let out a sigh of relief, continuing her polite act. "Felix, you're such a kind person. I heard you and Harry are only classmates. He's been here a year now, practically abandoned by his own family. Yet you pay out of pocket to keep him here. It's rare to find good people like you." Felix just played humble. It's a small thing. She couldn't let him die. That would be just too cruel. The head nurse froze at her words. Our hero sighed, faking a heavy heart. "It really breaks my heart," she said, and the nurse smiled. It was as if she understood everything. Next week, Sylvia was scheduled to join the cast for a shoot. It was for part 2 of 2.5 years. Sylvia had been staying at her place recently. She wasn't rushing to buy a house, and with her current level of fame, it wasn't safe. Her friend's neighborhood had amazing security and privacy, making it the perfect safe house. So she suggested Sylvia stay. When Natalie heard Sylvia was over, she completely lost her mind. A huge fan, Natalie had been pestering her for an autograph for ages. So she invited Sylvia for a meal, and Sylvia happily agreed. A table was booked. They got to the family-style restaurant early, but Natalie was caught in traffic. So she took Sylvia to an upstairs cafe to wait, but the moment they sat down, she heard it. A familiar voice from the next booth over. "Mrs. Young, is it fun clinging to a man who doesn't love you? Letting go is better for us both. And as for you, Miss Snow, you're still young. Mr. David Young is old enough to be your father. You really have no shame, do you?" Then a younger, angrier female voice fired back. "Whether I have shame or not is none of your business, you old hag. If you can't keep your own husband, don't blame others for stealing him, he told me. He said you two have been sleeping in separate rooms for 3 years with no feelings left. You have no self-respect. What's there to be proud of when a man hasn't touched you in 3 years?" But the other voice remained terrifyingly calm. "My, how times have changed. Now even mistresses dare to lecture others on self-respect. Let me guess, David Young promised you a lead role in some web drama, didn't he? With a D-list director, and you girls would fight to the death over it. He really knows how to play you all." The younger girl, Bianca, just sneered. "So what? The one who isn't loved is the real mistress. Haven't you heard? But I'm not here to argue with you, Miss Snow, since this is our first time meeting, please. Let me give you a gift." "What are you talking about? Open it and see." "Why should I, Miss Snow? What could I possibly do to you in public? It is just a gift." After a tense silence, Bianca gave in. "Fine, I'll open it. I don't believe you'd do anything." The next second, her voice sounded like her soul had fled her body. She screamed in pure terror. "You're a lunatic, you're a psycho." Then came a loud clatter. The sound of a coffee cup and saucer shattering on the floor. the older woman laughed. It was a cruel, triumphant sound. Miss Snow, do you know why David and I sleep in separate rooms? Because he has a disease, and a person like me, who fears death, obviously stays far away. Do you know why I don't divorce him? Even though he's so sick, it's because I'm waiting for him to die. You aren't the first girl to cause trouble. Every single one who shows up gets a little gift from me, a reminder to get themselves tested, whether you hit the jackpot or not. Well, that depends on your luck. Divorce, not happening. Knowing he's going to die soon, why would I ever split the assets with you? Mistresses, Miss Snow, if I told you I hope you're not unlucky, you probably wouldn't believe me, would you? Bianca screamed, her voice cracking into a sob. I won't listen, it's impossible. You're lying to me, you must be lying. Miss Snow, you can believe whatever you want. I won't try to change your mind. The coffee is on me. Just then, a poised woman in her 40s walked past their booth. Before disappearing out the door. Just moments later, Bianca stumbled out, her face deathly pale and her entire body trembling. The shock was just too much. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed right there in the aisle. Remembering the conversation they had just overheard, Felix quickly stood up and moved to the other side. He glanced at the next booth, spotting a box filled with clothes. He startled, suddenly his appetite was gone. Sylvia, let's go. Sylvia was just as baffled by this whole chaotic scene. Bianca slowly lifted her head. Seeing them, her pupils shrank in shock. Why are you here? Felix, were you following me? Already irritated, Felix just frowned. Are you sick? Who has time to follow you? Just our rotten luck running into you at noon. Bianca's expression changed. She looked toward where the woman had just vanished, instantly realizing they had heard the entire thing. Her expression twisted. It was a spectacular mix of terror, rage, hatred, and regret. Are you satisfied now? You two scumbags completely destroyed my life. Sylvia Harper, you stole my role. You won't have a good end. Sylvia looked back at her, a hint of pity in her eyes. How I end up is my own business. Instead of standing here cursing me, I suggest you get to a hospital and get yourself tested. Those words hit Bianca right where it hurt. She shrieked, her fear boiling over into pure rage. What right do you have to look down on me? You're just a beggar picking up my scraps. Sylvia, you're a thief who stole my whole life. You'll pay for this. Felix said coldly, Bianca Snow, if you genuinely believe you earned that role in your past life with your own skill, I can only laugh. Ha ha, she clenched her fists, grinding her teeth. So what, I am still that actress. Serena Knight is mine. Mine, Felix, you bastard, how dare you treat me this way? You deserve to burn to death in our last life. But Felix wasn't angry, he just replied calmly, I already died once. These little insults have zero effect. But you, Miss Snow, you've really surprised me. In the past life, you acted so pure, so noble. You refused all the kissing and bed scenes. Yet in this life, for your so-called career, you went looking for the exact type of sleazy old man you used to despise. And not just any old man, you found one with an STD. Bianca Snow, just how unbelievably stupid are you? With an IQ like that, you still want to join the entertainment industry. I advise you to give up now. Go wash your face and sleep. He suddenly remembered something else and added, oh, didn't you once swear that having money meant nothing? That all your past life experiences weren't worth anything. So why are you out here trying to steal someone's husband now? How does it feel to eat your own words? Bianca was driven completely insane. Her face contorted, her eyes looking like they were about to burst. You people. Suddenly, a shout cut her off. Hey, I think that's Sylvia Harper. It really is. Quick, get an autograph. Hurry, we need a picture with her. Several girls rushed over, completely crowding their booth. More and more people started to gather around. Bianca's broken, hysterical voice cried out, what is the big deal? She's just some actress, acting like she's the first person to ever be famous. Get out. Get out of my way, you're stepping on me. She turned to face them. Felix, Sylvia, you pair of scumbags are going to hell. The crowd immediately started whispering, "Who is this girl?" "Don't know her, probably some crazy woman who looks absolutely insane," Bianca sneered. Then she spun around, screaming, "Who's crazy? You're the crazy ones, you're whole. Families are crazy. Do you know who I am? I'm Bianca Snow, the Golden Horse. Best Actress, who the hell is Sylvia Harper, in a past life? When I debuted, she was hauling manure in some mountain backwater. Hauling manure, Sylvia is a total country bumpkin. That's her true nature. You've all been fooled by her, but an angry fan shot back, so what if she's a country bumpkin? Sylvia is as beautiful as a goddess. Look at you. You're not worth a single hair on her head. You're the crazy one here. Sylvia is a cloud in the sky and you're just mud on the ground. No, you're a maggot in filth. Bianca's mental defenses completely shattered. Who's a maggot? Say that again and I'll ruin your family. I'll beat you to death. With that, she lunged into the crowd, but no one was afraid of her. They simply shoved her right back. After that day, he never saw Bianca Snow again. He heard she fell seriously ill and returned to the countryside. It seemed her string of bad luck had finally caught up with her. He completely forgot about her and focused on university. On weekends, he would intern at his dad's company, preparing himself to take over the family business. He wanted to make up for what he owed his parents in his past life so they could retire early and enjoy their lives. Meanwhile, Sylvia's fame skyrocketed, making her an outstanding rookie. She won so many major acting awards that her hands grew tired from holding them. Before even turning 20, she was nominated for Best Actress. His mother absolutely adored her. She would often tease him, "Son, why don't you go after Sylvia? You never know unless you try. Maybe your dreams will actually come true. Mom, you don't understand. Young people these days don't even want to date. Heck, even dogs wouldn't want to date. Clearly, Sylvia, just like me, only wants to build her career. Her dream is to win an Oscar, and my dream is to be on the Forbes list." They both secretly thought the other was just talking big, but whatever, a person without a dream is just a walking corpse. Who knows, maybe one day their dreams really would come true, so they both focused on their careers, deciding to perhaps get married when they both finally achieved their goals, and that's where the story ends.